Good evening everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to look at our prefixes. So what are prefixes? Prefixes are words that are used that might mean a certain power of 10. Like for example, when we are looking at values such as 1000 like this, instead of saying 1000 you will be able to say the kilo. Now this is very important because it helps you more like simplify your work. Like for example, if you have a number having 6 zeros, you can call this one as mega. Now this is very important because it simplifies your calculation. Like for example, if you have to add like let's say this value plus this value plus another value. Now the prefixes will help you by introducing the powers of tens like that. So now when we look at that, we could have, let's say now we are going to identify what certain powers mean. So firstly, we know that 10 to the power 1, which is just a 10, is deca. So a decagon, when we say decagon, it means to say it has got 10 sides. So 10 to the power 1 is a deca. We are going to be writing them side by side and putting the symbol. So deca spelled like that. So then we have the symbol is DA like that. So here we are going to have our symbol. Here we are going to have our prefix. So this is a prefix. Then this one would be our meaning like that. Then we are going to have even here. So if you have a 10 raised to the power negative 1, this will be named as your deci like that, which is having the symbol of small letter d. So 10 raised to the power negative 1, you can just think of it as the beginning of the decimal point. So it's called deci. When we have our 10 to the power 2, this is what we are going to call hecto like that, small letter h. So all these, the prefixes for the positive values are small until you exceed your kilo. That's when the capital letters begin. So now here we are going to have our 10 raised to the power negative 2. Now this one will be named as centi. So the symbol for centi is small letter c like that. Then here when we move to our 10 raised to the power positive 3, that's our kilo. So the symbol for kilo is small letter k like that. Then we have our 10 raised to the power negative 3. This one is what we call our milli, and our symbol is such that we are going to have small letter m. Then we are going to move on. From here we are going to be using powers of, we just add 3's. So when we go to our 10 raised to the power 6, this one will be named as our mega. So even the gap, you can now even be able to tell that the size changes. So we are going to now begin our use of the capital letters. Then here when it is 10 to the power of negative 6, here it is what we call micro. Then the micro, the symbol looks like this, which we call mu. So continuing, we are going to have our 10 to the power of 9. So these are bundles. So the smallest, not the smallest, the ones we use, we have the mega. Then we are going to go to our giga, big letter G. Then here we are going to have 10 raised to the power negative 9, which is what we are going to be calling as our nano. So we are going to have our nano like that. Then the symbol is small letter n. Then we are going to have our 10 to the power 12. So bundles move by mega, giga. Then we are going to have our tera. Our tera with the symbol of big letter T like that. So from there, we are going to have our 10 to the power of 15, we are going to call this guy Mr. Peter with a capital letter P like that. Then here when we look at our 10 raised to the power negative, this one is what we call a pico. 10 to the power negative 12 is called a pico. The symbol is small letter P like that. Then when we look at our 10 raised to the power negative 15, this one we are going to call this one as our femto. Then the symbol is small letter F. When we go to our 10 to the power of positive 18, we are going to call this one as exa with the symbol big letter E like that. Then here, when we get our 10 raised to the power negative 18 like that, we are going to have what we call the atto. The symbol is small letter A. So all the symbols for the prefixes that are negative is a small letter like that. Then the other thing that we are going to have is a 10 raised to the power 21. So now here it is similar, but you must be very, very careful. So the one that comes first is a zeta. So you can think of the alphabet, though Z is the last letter, but you begin with it. So we are going to have zeta like that. Then we are going to write capital letter Z. So just be careful. The positive one is called zeta. Then the negative one is called our zepto. So here we are going to have zepto. Then the symbol will be small letter Z like that. Then last but not the least, we are going to have our 10 to the power of 24. Even this one, it is very, very similar. Our 10 to the power of 24, we are going to call this prefix as our iota. Then our Z or our letter there will be capital letter like that. Then finally, we are going to have our 10 raised to the power negative 24. Then for that one, we are going to have our yocto. Yocto. So what you can just think of is this TO at the end, as long as it's a negative for this one. Let's see. Looks like it. Okay, just beginning from here. Femto, atto, zepto, and yocto. So that is how we deal with our prefixes. So let's look at a simple question. So let's say we are told to write the following using appropriate prefixes without exponentials. So if we have our 6.35 times our 10 to the power of negative 4 liters like that. So what this means is that the nearest prefix that we know is a negative 3. So we have to change this to a negative 3. So we are going to have something like our 6.35. Then we are going to have times our 10 to the power negative 3 times our 10 to the power negative 1. Because by doing this means to say I haven't changed the meaning. Because if you multiply 10 to the power negative 3 times 10 to the power negative 1 like that, it shall be keep one base, add the powers. Now in this case, since there is negative, we are going to say negative 3 minus 1, which will return to that. Now we are going to have our 6.35. Let's begin by 10 to the power of negative 1 times our 10 to the power negative 3 like that. So what this means is that we have a 6.35, then we have times the 10 to the power negative 1 will give us a 0.1 like that times our 10 to the power negative 3. So what we are going to do is we multiply 0.1 times 6.35. We are going to have a 0.635. You can verify on your calculator. Then we have times 10 to the power negative 3 like that. Now the prefix that corresponds to 10 to the power negative 3 is milli. So what we are going to do is, what units have we been given? Milliliter. So we are going to say the value will be a 0.635. Then where there is 10 to the power negative 3, you are going to just put your milli like that. then you have the gram since it was milligram like that. Then the other question, which is straightforward, we have been given that a 5.2 times 10 to the power of -9 meter cubed. So this 10 to the power -9 is already a prefix, so we can just be able to say 5.2, then 10 to the power -9 gives us what we call a nano. So we have the meter here, we can just combine, so we have the nanometer cubed like that. So that is how we do that. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next tutorial.